The obelisk, often called Cleopatra's Needle, has graced Central Park for over 130 years. This ancient Egyptian marvel, approximately 500 years old. A 1926 Death Valley expedition, in which a party of Chevy motorists traversed the desert to showcase their vehicles for prospective new car buyers seeking adventure. For that. West Virginia, 1946. Passing the house where Joyce had lived, he recalled how often he had brought the Irish novelist home after an evening's drinking, helping him up the stairs because Joyce's vision was already poor. Nora, wife of Joyce, would open the door and say, "Well, here comes James Joyce the writer, drunk again with Ernest Hemingway." North Carolina, 1912. Grandma Ophelia is holding Checkers, the world's most pampered pooch. She is standing next to her and her husband's other pride and joy, a top-of-the-line 1955 Star Chief with the amber lighted-up hood ornament. Her husband, Granddad Nelson, is diligent in making sure the Pontiac is just as pampered. In 1973, 2 men went to police, claiming to have been abducted by aliens. Romper Room. The first televised debate between Democratic nominee John F. Kennedy and Republican Vice President Richard Nixon, as seen on a black-and-white TV. September, 1960. Lauren Bacall, 1945. An old beanie baby price guide, and each beanie has an estimated 10-year future value, 1990s. The World Trade Center under construction, 0.1970. Photochrome image of young women on Marken Island, Holland, between 1890 to 1900. New York City, subway, 1981. Frozen Niagara Falls, 1911. Cashiers at the grand opening of a Piggly Wiggly in Encino, California in 1962. Battle of Midway, June 1942. USS Yorktown, CV-5, lists heavily after she was abandoned during the afternoon of June 4, 1942. Note that 2F-4F for Wildcat fighters are still parked on her flight deck, aft of the island. Official U.S. Navy photograph. A 19-year-old James Dean, 1950. Women factory workers in a cotton mill in Lancashire, 1908. Vanna White appearing on The Price is Right in 1980. Crystal Gale was born on January 9, 1951, making her 73 years old. She has been married to Bill Gatsimo since 1971, and they have 2 children, Catherine and Christos. Known for her long, flowing hair and her signature soft voice, Gale is also a successful businesswoman and a beloved figure in country music. On September 9, 1964, Wire Services picked up a story that Vivian Vance would be leaving The Lucy Show. This should not have come as a surprise. Vivian's home life with her husband John Dodds was in Stamford, Connecticut. She would make the 3,000-mile plane trip to work on The Lucy Show every week and fly back home for the weekends. Born at New Palace, Prussia, on April 22, 1872, Princess Margaret of Prussia, was the youngest child of Crown Princess Victoria and her husband, Crown Prince Friedrich of Prussia. In her journal, Queen Victoria wrote that she heard last night that dear Vicky had been safely confined at 1/2 p. 10 with a daughter, her 8th child. Good accounts this morning. Apocalypse Now, 1979, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, is widely regarded as one of the greatest war films ever made. Set during the Vietnam War, it is loosely based on Joseph Conrad's novella, Heart of Darkness and chronicles Captain Willard S. Martin Sheen journey up the Nung River to assassinate Colonel Kurtz, Marlon Brando, a rogue officer who has established himself as a godlike figure among a local tribe. In her memoirs, Muriel Buchanan describes the physical appearance of the 15-year-old Olga at an imperial ball in 1910. That evening, she wore a pale pink chiffon dress of almost classical simplicity. A silver ribbon was bound round her golden hair, which was parted in the middle, and her only jewels were a string of pearls round her slender neck. 1941. While his squadron was based at McCord Field, Washington, Doolittle Raider Ted Lawson, Pilot Crew 7, married Ellen Arlene Reynolds in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. His best man at the ceremony was squadron mate Lieutenant Robert Bob Gray, pilot of Crew 3 later during the Doolittle raid. Ted and Ellen had 2 daughters and 1 son. Barbra Streisand in the kitchen of her New York apartment in 1964. The bathtub in the kitchen was standard for that type of apartment. Photo by Bill Epridge. A stewardess for Southwest Airlines in .1972. Hard to believe this is the Empire State Building in 1941. No other tall skyscrapers surrounding it. Paul Newman, 1981. Elizabeth Taylor, 1957. Street fashion in the 70s. In 1995, Pearl Jam canceled their tour due to a dispute with Ticketmaster, which began in 1992 with 2 free concerts in Seattle. Ticketmaster charged a fee of $1 per ticket, which Pearl Jam found unacceptable. The band decided to distribute the tickets themselves. Cliff House in Ocean Beach, 1890s, San Francisco. Actress Elizabeth Taylor at 14 years old rides her horse King Charles. She was gifted the horse on her 13th birthday by MGM Studios after they both starred together in National Velvet as Velvet Brown and the Pie, respectively, 1946, United States. Neil Hamilton was born on September 9, 1899, in Lynn, Massachusetts. He first got a break in films by being cast in The White Rose in 1918 by D.W. Griffith, who cast him in further films including Isn't Life Wonderful in 1924. Photographer Margaret Burke White taking a photo from the top of the Chrysler Building, 1935. Portrait of unidentified beautiful family, around 1875. Frontier hunter and his trusty dogs, .1860s.